Yo, so today I'm going to be breaking down two Hyperpop melodies from my new kit. They're both kind of like ambient bouncy ones. So before we start, thank you guys for all the support on the kit. That was really cool. I definitely want to make more kits in the future. I am starting to work on another, like a strictly loop kit, like no one shots or anything. And then a serum bank after that, so that'll take quite a bit longer, but I think it'll be fun to learn more about like sound design and stuff. So I'm gonna do that. Also, gonna try to keep the video length down because I did a poll 2 weeks ago, a week ago, and uh, 10 to 15 minutes was the like top vote. So I'm gonna try to keep it to there. All right, so to start off with, we're gonna break down the Zoe melody, which I made a while ago, and I don't have some of the MIDIs for, but I can kind of explain what I did with them. But this was the first preview loop in that video I did, and some people said it was good, so I figured I'd break it down. So to start off with, I started with this pattern, and it is a synth pluck from Serum, of course, but it is the Forever pluck from the Omega Bank, which is a free bank. You can go grab that. And it's a really super simple pattern, and it's just basically a bunch of 7th chords and then like kinda 7th chords, like just little variations. So if I go to this first chord and I put down those two, you can see it's a 7th chord, and then I inverted the 3rd and then the 7th up an octave. So then after that, I just kind of clicked in bass notes and made slight variations on that and just kind of clicked around till it sounded good. So yeah, I don't really know how else to explain it, but overall it's a super duper simple pattern, just 4 chords repeating throughout the melody. And here's what it sounds like. And that just repeats throughout the melody. Really simple, repetitive, but kind of catchy, I guess. So that is this pattern here. And then you can see I have some reverse things up here, and basically I just copied that same MIDI onto a synth pad and then reversed it whenever the chord changed, so it keeps the same chord progression, but it's reversed and it has a pretty cool effect. So I'll play the synth pluck with the reverse pad together. So it just really fills it in and kind of gives it that like it hit, like the pluck hits and then it like leads up until the next pluck hit, and I've been doing that a lot and really like the way it sounds. Next, I copied that same pattern, but here I just left the 3rd down for this part, and then I put it up for some of the chords in this part just to create some variation, and then went Control A Alt U to chop it up, and figured that this like time was the best, and it really gives it a lot of energy and just kind of sits in the background and speeds up the melody a bit. And that's the butterfly pluck from the Skywalker Serum Bank. Pretty cool pattern, very simple, just kind of sits in the background. So I'll play these 3 patterns together. It's pretty much like the base of the melody that just repeats and kind of interchanges and switches out as like the loop goes on. Yeah, so that's pretty much the base of the pattern. Next, I also do not have the MIDI for, but it's pretty much just a bell playing right here. And then I went ahead and rendered it out and then have it reversed into the hit. So it's kind of like a high-end like glide kind of texture, I guess, with like the bell in it. It sounds pretty cool, but I'm pretty sure it's the balcony bell from Omnisphere. So here's what this pattern sounds like. And then that just repeats over. Very simple, just kind of like a texture kind of thing. Next, I made this lead pattern, and it is the Candy lead from the Sunboy Quadra Bank. And Really for lead patterns, I just kind of go through and listen to the melody over and over again until I get something that sounds right. So it's kind of hard to explain like the process except like just trial and error. But it ended up a pretty cool pattern. Just kind of picked notes from the chords that like the sounds match. I don't really know. But try to leave some open space so there's like some breathing room so it's not just like constant high-end lead in your ear the whole time. So here's what this pattern sounds like. And you'll notice here that this note doesn't connect all the way. And I did that because it's the same note playing this G. And if I were to leave it like connected like that, it connects the note so it just sounds like one like continuous note. But I wanted it to feel like there was like a start and an end point to like the pattern. So I just went ahead and moved that back a cell just to kind of give it that like start and end point. Finally, of course, the Musk sub bass for the bass. And the only like thing I did that's a little bit different, I guess, is it copies the chords, but this part is lengthened out. Normally I would put it there, but I let it go with this on top of it, so there's like a glide to it. So it just adds a little extra something to the bass pattern, and it sounds like this. And that just repeats over again. So far you can really see that it's a super duper simple melody, just kind of focusing on good sound selection and like layering. And then the thing that I think set the melody apart the most was this vocal loop. And what I did is just went on YouTube, looked up like free, royalty-free EDM vocal chops. And then I found this pack, which I've been using for a while, probably need to get an updated one. But I know you can get Somatics packs and like splice stuff, and those are really good for vocal chops. I just don't have them, but maybe you should check them out. But I just kind of listened through the vocal loop, chopped out parts that I liked to kind of get like this stuttering feeling here, and then layered this little bit at the end, and otherwise it's just how the vocal loop came. So I'll go ahead and play this real quick. So yeah, those are all like the melodic elements of the loop. And then I'll go through the mixing real quick. So on the reverse synth pad, I have this EQ, a chorus on the default preset. Then on the synth pluck, I have EQ to cut the lows, and then an imager. On the fast pluck, I have the same EQ that's on the pad. And then on the bell, I have this EQ, a reverb, a ping pong delay, and the default chorus preset. Then on the vocal loop, I have this just to make sure it's like strictly high end and kind of fills up that space. And then reverb, and then you'll see here I have Valhalla space modulator, but I didn't actually use that in the final loop, but I kind of like played around with it when I was mixing. But it is a free plugin and it's really cool. It's like has a bunch of flangers and stuff in it, but very good plugin. It's free. You can go grab that. And then finally Pancake on the Shy preset and turn the LFO to 2 bars. Then on the lead, I put an EQ just for fun. Didn't do anything to it. Just left it there. And then on the bass, cut the highs. And then for the arrangement, I just kind of listened to it by ear and kept playing it through until I got something that I liked and thought like transitioned the different parts well. And then I went with that. And then I went ahead and made it just a little bit cooler by doing these automation clips here. And unfortunately, I do not own Growspeed. I just have the trial version, so I can't like show what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's the 1-beat gate that I've used in previous videos. And it just comes in at the beginning, which I actually misclicked and I thought it sounded cool, so I left it. And then right here before the drums will drop, and then it comes sweeps in here at the end just to make it have like a clean looping, so it like starts stuttering again and then goes back into this full stutter section, just so if someone just wants to copy this part of the loop over here and they copy it over, it'll be a smooth transition from like one piece to the other and it won't be choppy. Next, I have this Fruity Love filter. It's just on the default preset, and I just go in here, throw it on the master, and then right click on the cut knob and then create automation clip. And I just tried to fit it in with the chops to make them feel smoother and then it dips down and does like a record scratch kind of thing, like a tape stop almost at the end of here. It's not really either of those things, but it's kind of what I think it is. And then drops down back to like where it's super filtered out so it can transition into this part again, just to make sure it sounds really clean when like looping. And then the last thing I put in is a ambience, which is a free reverb plugin, and it's really good. I highly recommend it. And pretty much same thing as the love filter, just making this part more reverby and helping those chops be like more fluid and sound cooler. And then of course sweeping back up at the end so it loops nicely. And then I rendered it out, didn't mess with the pitch, thought it was cool the way it was. So I'll play like the first little bit of this melody just so you can hear the final loop. Yeah, so I thought that was just a pretty cool melody, probably one of my favorites from the kit, but I think the next one I'm going to break down, I think I like a little bit more, I'm not really sure. Alright, so the second melody I'm going to break down is the Starstrike melody, and it's like very ambient kind of thing. And the first thing that I started off with is this MIDI, and I've talked about this in previous videos, like the building melody video and like other hyperpop videos, but it's basically using that same layering like building trick. So here would be the first layer, see very simple chords and then just these two transition notes, and then on top of that I have like more of a repetitive pattern to like kind of get energy going and establish like kind of a top line almost, and then the last layer would be like the top line. And doing this trick, for me at least, really helps like build a really cool melody, having like separate parts that all come together. And the sound for this is the moon bell from the Sunboy Bank. And it sounds like this. So it's a really cool melody, and it sounds cool because of the delay on the bell, so everything kind of like hits off each other. And then I went in and I added this, which is the drain synth from the Void Serum Bank. And then I just copied the bass notes and that first like half chord note, and then have it go down, and it's just kind of like a background noise. Sounded pretty cool, so I left it in. But yeah, here's this. It really sounds like you could put this into like a Ian Dior type melody, but sounds good in here. All right, so the next sound I put in is another pluck, and it is the Blossom pluck from the Adapt Serum Bank. And I have it playing those same chords, but they're offset by these two boxes here. So it just gives it a little bit more bounce, and I think it sounds pretty cool in contrast with the other melodies. And it doesn't really make sense to play this on its own, so I'm gonna go ahead and play it with the synth that we just broke down. So they fit really nicely together. Next, I put in the Saber lead from a Sinju bank, and it's a really simple pattern, just does these 4 notes repeating. And I think I have finisher micro on it, so it sounds really like ambient and sparkly kind of. So here's what this pattern sounds like. And then that just repeats over again. And then for the second lead, for like the second part of the melody, it's the Thoughts lead from the Omega Bank, which is a free bank. You can go check that out. And it just plays this, and again, can't really explain it, just kind of plays off of some of the top notes in the original melody, and then just kind of listened to it through and added notes as I saw fit. Kind of sounded cool. And then the last sound is the never bass from, again, that Omega Bank. And this just kind of is what gives the melody some like energy and bounce in the intro. And of course just copies the bass notes, but here's this. So that's again it for the melodic parts. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the mixing real quick. So on that main pluck, I have a cut the lows, reverb, and then imager. And then on the synth, I cut the lows and then magic switch, which is a chorus plugin. Very good, it's free. Nothing on that second like offset pluck. And then on the first lead, I have the lows cut again, and then I have shaper box on it, which I apparently just put on for fun. There's actually nothing to that, and then like I mentioned earlier, there is the finisher micro on the infinity preset, which is a free plugin, makes it sound real sparkly. Then on the second lead, I just kind of cut the lows, boosted the highs, and then on the sub bass, of course, cut the highest, but I left some because there's a lot of high end in this bass that kind of gives it that energy. So I wanted to leave some of that in, but then cut some of it out. And then for the arrangement, very simple, pretty much the same process I always do, just kind of listening to it through and then clicking stuff in or adding stuff as sounds good. And then for this little reverse section, I reversed the synth that's here just for the intro and kind of some little bits in here, but it's just another variation that spices up the melody a little bit. And other than that, it's a really cool melody, and it's in the major scale, which I don't really do that much, so I was surprised like how good it turned out, I guess. But yeah, it sounds pretty cool. And then I rendered it out and pitched it up one, so it's in, oh, I'm gonna get this wrong because I have it labeled as D sharp major, but I know that's not right. I think you would call that E flat major in the major scale, but not really sure. Hopefully I got it right. But again, I'll play the first little bit of the melody so you can hear what it sounds like all together. So here's the final loop. Yeah, so it sounds pretty cool, and I think it messed up on something. I might have changed the effects on something because it sounded a little wacky. But I forgot to mention, I added ambience, pretty much the same thing as I did in the last one. So it loops really nicely, comes in more like dramatic and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. And again, thanks for the support on the kit. That was really cool. And yeah, I'll play one of these loops at the end. I don't really know. I'll just pick one and play it at the end. And also, next week, 2 interesting videos that I'm thinking about doing. I want to do that worth it thing that I talked about last Friday. That'll come out, so I'll do like Omnisphere and I'll make like a fun scoreboard and stuff. And then I want to do one of like how to improve your melodies using midis, but not like using the midis, but like studying the midis, because I found that to be really helpful. So I'll kind of explain how I did that. But yeah, again, thanks for watching. I'll play a final loop right now.